A Mexican farmer said he built a pyramid in the desert under the orders of Heriliaka, one alien from a distant place. World Crown, a farmer who sought answers in the glow of the stars, he built a stone pyramid that an extraterrestrial called for a temple to test his faith, advising that neither the winds or gales the move. And it is always straight up, because above all good things emanate. I remembered what they said the Indians here, the priests spoke with the gods, so I thought, this is a god of those who spoke the Indians. But the appearance understood what she thought, answering, I am not a god, I am a man like you, have the same importance as you, I have it. I tell you that being that formed the nebula, when he spoke born new universes, like when you talk. World, a slim and tiny peasant, brown, skinned son, then 33 years old, he had just been father of a girl, and the man that spoke of many things that did not understand, taking him to where he had to lift the construction. So I want to be your faith, which is always to top. The temple will have a pyramid, and will be stone. So I want your faith will never break, and your name I will not tell you until you become aware, until you understand. Many will scoff, they defame. They will say, it was crazy or drunk, was a vision of this crazy, or this junkie. I tell you the name of a person represents something more than your body, your soul and your spirit. It is the essence that dwells in man. One day I will tell you my name, and where did you come from? Why are you so worried about where I come from? Worry about you, but I'll say. I come from the constellation of Orion, a place called Nephilim. It is 20 times larger than the Earth place. There is a lot of similarity with humans. It was so Raimundo Solomon Corona Villarreal, world, a man born in a peasant family, knew something that was not of the earth, starting to build a stone pyramid of 7 meters high in the Ejido Pos Los de Arriba, near Monclova, but closer to the municipality of Frontera, 10 kilometers from the beltway Carlos Salinas de Gortari, in the state of Coahuila. And far, far away from where he came from, the creature who asked to observe carefully the stars, because all had been done for him. In adjustment, the people of Pos Los de Arriba, they had the opportunity to observe flying machines floating in the desert, over the mountains, hidden among the clouds. Somehow they had become accustomed to the presence of fireballs which they called witches. One night in November 1984, World Crown was working in the pit number 1 Simas, an agency to supply water to the region, where he worked 40 years managing water pumps. The night was one of those that abound in the area, monotonous, suffocating, interrupted by howls of coyotes and flashes of fireflies. He heard knock on the door, asked, "Who is it? What walk doing?" He came to think it was a neighbor, someone the people who threw the door with a kick. He was a tall man, honey-colored eyes and white hair, that reached to the ground. He wore a robe tied with a rope and bare feet. His first words were sad, thoughtful. "So soon you have forgotten me, who are you?" "If I had never seen before I would have forgotten. You have the body of an athlete, your face is also a very handsome man. So soon you have forgotten me? Do not you remember when your child was born?" Mundo recalled that it was the same man he had met in a nightmare, scared and ran through the night, skipping stones and dodging bushes. 100 meters away he thought about what was the reason he ran. Maybe it was another nightmare, a bad dream, an incoherent vision. He returned to the place. There he was, waiting. Stunned, plate arms, face, legs. He repeated, "It's a dream and I could not wake up." "You're not dreaming, you have not lived reality as now. You're not dreaming. You come to ask a favor." Stopped. "Yo owe you a favor, in that nightmare did me a great favor." I want you to build a temple and its total volume will be 108 meters. Will you calculate your height and base? Must be in the form of pyramid. Mundo said that he was raised tending cows and goats, had studied up to 6th grade. It was impossible what he asked because it involved mathematical calculations, planning. What we do not know, ask about it. Even the most inept has something to teach you. Ask yourself why the leaves of the trees move. One day you'll get your genetic system knowledge that has been stored for thousands of years. I say you are like the universe itself. You are not different. Know where you come from, why you're here. What's more important, where you're going. The appeal of the world for the second half of 1983, World Crown had been difficult times, because he worked at night in the water well, had to milk the cattle, before clarification of the world, took care of their children and Almarosa was about to give again light. Sleeping hours were virtually non-existent, and began to see a man sitting up in a cloud called him by name. On November 9 his wife had labor pains. He led the Social Security clinic in Frontera, and somehow finally had a moment of pause awaiting the birth of her daughter. The torpor slowly overtook him in the emergency room. He closed his eyes, and recognized the room where his wife was lying. Beside her, the body of a person covered with a black coat color. When turned his face was a skull, he said he had come for women and girls. World pleaded, knelt for that not to happen. It was he who asked to die. The skull said he could not do anything, but someone who was above would might help. He saw a ladder reaching to the clouds, climbed running and came to a room, where there was a man sitting in a chair. He begged to help him. The man replied, "Why you ask follies? Why you are not happy with what you should be? You should know that what is written, something is written." To his right he opened a door, left a woman dressed in a blue tunic, brought on his head a cap and exuded a blinding light. She said, "Lord, forgive him." The man thought for several minutes. "Well, so be it, but do not forget to reorder follies. Go with your wife. Your wife is going to have a child and you shall name Ugl. And her godmother will be deaf." Waking learned he was unconscious several hours. And at 1:30 he is born Maria Ugl. The free loves the world inhabited world was falling apart. Many saw flying machines in the sky. Few believed about the existence of an apparition from another galaxy which required building something they did not even know in the northern desert. They often asked what it was called, the apparition, who spoke the universe was and its stars. In one of many visits, the alien grabbed a stone floor, fingers drew a shape resembling a snake was not captured, and asked to decipher his strokes. At the time he managed to understand. He knows his name. Only taught the stone world who ask more details. One day he interrupted, "You do not need to tell me your name. I know you know who I am. My friends call me Heriliaka. The free love, who loves in freedom, that's my name," said so world. He began to tell a Heriliaka, from a very far away place called Nephilim, belonging to constellation Orion, coppery color perched in the clouds, traveling on a ship, and demanded a temple in the shape of a pyramid. At that curious come and go over time 7 boys came to Pos Los Diariba, and were amazed by the stories of World Crown, by the lights in the sky they saw in the darkness. Everyone had the opportunity to learn, to seek and be someone different. We were looking at infinity. We did not see anything more than the stars. They also reached to see a man with eyes like flames sun perched in the clouds, and was transported in a ship with glass dome, and whose solid floor became crystalline. You would like to listen to those who saw. Some were traumatized. They called him the giant. Everyone was watching him according to the state of consciousness that was. There were some who said to me, "You when you're with him you do not speak Spanish, you speak in another language we do not understand." I do not know another language more little understand. I grew up raising goats and cows. Me no, they are wrong, he told them. The appearance was 11 night summer of 1988. A group of 8 friends, most high school students just who Sierra, Monclova, were listening to the stories of World Corona, reeled corn facility Sim as well. There was only moonlight, wind noise, branches. That which seemed silence was broken by a clear, melodic voice that blended with the air. Raimundo. Raimundo. You are privileged because they will see what no one has been warned. The sky was overcast. Where now is built the pyramid had a stick stuck in the solid earth. At the top of a pole was a man suspended in the air. He sounded like a swarm of bees pissed off. Heriliaka was a normal person, long hair, beard, tunic and sword. His Navasito was hidden behind clouds, told one of those guys back then. He began visiting Los de Arriba, that went with friends to hunt rabbits in a rickety van. The road was dirt loose and the surrounding villages talked about alien ships in the vicinity. We had 18 years, said that there appeared UFOs. We started making conversation with World, we became friends. We were Tuesdays and Saturdays for 3 years. We talked about what had Heriliaka. World said, 0 cigarettes, beer 0. Before talked less, he said people are bad by nature. Despite the years, continues to visit Los de Arriba, now a federal police active. His brother, commercial lawyer, also accompanied him. Mundo blown away because Mr. has a very nice vibe. We would arrive at 8 o'clock at night and we were leaving at 2 in the morning. When we saw that entity called Heriliaka, it was like floating in the air. You will not see his face. We were all very nervous, almost crying. World spoke another language. In the group there was a boy, who did not believe in the world, rather only believed in what his eyes were watching. That night was stunned. His life changed, from being playful prankster and he turned somber. Following this situation we had problems at school, with our parents. It was something that was beyond the reach of our minds. Some were upset. Whenever we talk about that when we get together, get upset, grab some alcohol to forget those details. The message Heriliaka said, do not despair because if one day you are alone, remember this, if within 1,000,000 years, one will hear you, you are like the diamond itself, that spreads the light of knowledge. We want you to realize, how terrible they are doing in this place called Earth, and that should take care, as the apple of his eye, because it gives them the necessities of life. They should be aware that are a replica of the Earth and the entire universe. All that I have told tell others. It is necessary for man to know that you are taking the wrong path, and are taking the knowledge to create weapons. The reconstruction of the Earth. Heriliaka World took the head with his hand. And World had a vision. There was a terrible war that tormented me. Something had gotten out of control. All the atoms of species, stones, sea and huge dust increased temperatures. This swept everything in its path, destroying everything. And it looked like the heat wave burned children and women, watched writhed. They were falling pieces of meat. The earth was like when the mountains are burned, all land was covered with smoke and it was a night of death. I started thinking, why we did not get to see the chaos we were doing to the earth, suffering. In the darkness he saw lights moving, they were naked men and women. Others came up, down and talked with them, they were clasping and were rivers of light in the dark. I saw a piece of land that had remained intact, the men were reproduced and restructured the land, which took its splendor and beautiful formation again. I saw that the earth was full of people, men came flying high. People like swarms followed. And where do these go? Why nothing happened to them, asked the world, because they had full knowledge. Do you think you can populate all? I tell you that he did these things, when he speaks makes new universes, everything is for you, do the right thing. God Eterdis impose Los de Arriba, where people come and go. World collects not soul, the wind makes the branches roar over 30 meters high, sunlight filtered. 2 of her 16 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren play on the floor, run, scream, see the sky about to be loaded with stars. And world relies on 3 occasions has been close to death, the last by a cancer, that has he invaded his body and is in constant medical checkup. Sometimes in my states of consciousness terminal I felt happy because he said, what I said Heriliaka is not going to comply. No more terrible than the folly of man, in his arrogance that does not look at doing things thing. It seems that world will retelling of one Heriliaka so-called one of the grandsons, son of Mary Ugle, the Nephilim came and settled on a cloud, which he appeared a moonless night, and watched the earth with eyes like flames sun, and he requested a stone pyramid of 7 meters high in the desert in Pos Los de Arriba, which is after Pos Los de Abajo. The wind breaks, all leaves fall from the trees. There is some moisture, flashes of insects in the dark. Calm, something that seems silent, do you feel it? It is God who is caressing you. I just want to live what life let me live. Dad said, how sad that I will die just because I start understanding life.